Cage.
Yo.
Got the UFC hat going. You want to do the intro today?
Yeah, man. Listen, that way I don't have to step on your toes. You can step on mine if you like. So we're jumping on now. I'll try to figure out a play. Andrew's got two, so maybe we'll just let him give two. I'm outside. Home today. I was putting up my Christmas decorations, holiday decorations on my lawn. Had some time to smoke a cigar. And I'm talking to Andrew, business stuff, podcast stuff. But he is in a different mindset these days, guys. He is combat sports all day, every day. Little NFTs sprinkled in, our friends with the flower girls. So it's funny. By day, he's a boxer. By night, he buys women-led NFT projects. He's a Renaissance man, folks. So
some might say my NFT projects are what led me to boxing.
Maybe.
I need to quiet my mind because there's something to be said, like that stock market. It's a good thing it closes at 4. It's a good thing it closes.
Yeah, you get to sleep every now and again, right?
Yeah.
Lick your wounds, so to speak, right? So, you take out the frustration. And so Luca Nation, welcome back to another episode here. We had some fun stuff. But Andrew tells me, the last couple of days, boxing has not been as much fun for him because he's fighting against a taller opponent, right? And so, I'm a fan of combat sports. I've also lived for a long time and have watched a lot of cool fights and stuff. So we went through this whole exercise where I said, pull up Frazier against Ali. And he watches Frazier fight. I say, watch how he gets inside, right? And watch how, you take the body and he's like, wow, look at this fight. I'm like, there's a Philly guy. We fight like him, fight like this, fight like this. So, and we went down this rabbit hole of like different fights and different styles, how styles make fights and all this fun stuff, right? And he's watching fights, and I'm sending him links of Anderson Silva fighting in the UFC, and then how Chael Sonnen, almost beat Anderson Silva, and he's watching. I'm like, oh, and you could just tell he's like, oh, what's gonna happen? Oh, just stay on him, just punch him. And guys, if you haven't seen that fight, the first Silva Sonnen, Sonnen, Chael Chael, take a watch of that fight. It's cool from many reasons. Cool because of styles make fights. Cool to see how nothing's ever over until it's over. Thank you, Yogi Berra. And what happens in the championship rounds. It ain't over until it's over. What?
Yogi Berra?
Yeah, he had a bunch of good quotes. That's why those Aflac commercials, the Money Store commercials, and those things that he did. I think maybe Money Store might have been for Rizzuto.
That Silva.
Aflac gives you cash, which is as good as money.
Well, that Sonnen Silva fight was literally it's not over till it's over because Sonnen was rocking him, and then 2 minutes left. Sonnen's won the entire match, and then Silva gets him with. I thought it was a choke, but you said it was an armbar.
He subs him. He gets his arm. So what's funny? I don't want to ruin that for the guys, but so we're going through fights. And I say, hey, Andrew, I got something you got to watch. But you know what? I'm going to watch it with you. And he's like, well, let's just do an episode. So this is a little interesting, segue into an episode here for you guys. So, if you're watching on YouTube, Andrew's going to pull up this fight. I sent him a link. And this is an old school fight, right? So this is an old school fight between two fighters. One name is Kimo, Kimo. You can search this. And the other fighter is Bob Sapp, right? Bob Sapp, you probably have seen.
Bob Saget.
Heard of him. Bob Sapp, huge mountain of a man. He's actually in the movie The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler. He's one of the cons on the Mean Machine team. And, Bob Sapp is just one of those guys. There's cool cards of Bob Sapp. The first Leaf set that Brian Gray put out, the red stuff, had a Bob Sapp auto. And I remember opening the pack, and there's Bob. So we'll watch this video. Bob is a mountain of a man, right?
It's a big boy. Those are some big traps.
And there's Kimo, right? Kimo's got the tats all over the place, the whole deal, right? So I want you to be the color man, and I want you, like you do, narrate this fight. Look at this dude. This dude he's a beast, right? Look at these two, right? Watch these guys. Oh, this is the funniest thing, right? So you get the boxing gloves on, right?
Nice little
Kimo. Look, so watch.
This is kickboxing.
Yeah, I think it might be kickboxing.
Oh, I thought. Two big boys. I thought they're coming out here going to be
boxing each other. There's no defense. Look what they're doing. They're just look at Sapp. Oh my God, he's pounding on the back of his head.
Paige, what is the sport? This is a mix of boxing and martial arts.
Yeah.
Is this isn't MMA though, right?
But what's the title? I think it's a K1.
What does that mean?
That was a different promotion. K1, I think.
Jesus.
I'll have to look. So your knee. Now Sapp is there's no arms up. Look at him breathing. He's already gassed, but he's just pummeling him.
That's a big boy.
So he's pummeling him. And guys, I apologize for the audio on this, right? Not watching. You got to watch this on YouTube or find this fight. So Sapp.
We're gonna get
Kimo caught him. Look at him. Look at his legs. He's done. So Sapp is finished. Kimo caught him with that left, and Sapp. Look, he can't even stand. Oh, you're backing up. I want to see it again. You see it again. Oh, look at him. Look at it. His legs go right out from under him. He got caught right in the temple with a left hook, and he's on him, right? Now, Sapp he's done. He's finished. It's over. He's on the ropes. But wait for it. Look at Sapp. He's just eating punches. He can't even stand. He runs away. Oh, and he caught him. He caught Kimo.
Wait, what just happened?
Back. He's counting. You want to back it up and see? Why? You watch. The funniest thing I've ever seen.
Dude, this is how to fight with no technique, yeah?
These are just guys throwing. They're just throwing hands. And that's it. So Kimo's down. Right? The ref's counting. So he's counting. All right, ready to go. So Sapp is big. Look, he can't even stand.
What is
He's still unconscious. Look at him. He's sitting. See him all wobbled. See him all wobbled. He can't stand. And he falls. He throws a punch and falls down. He's still. So Kimo is down. Now Sapp is down. Look at he can't even stand up. So it's clearly over, right? I mean, Kimo's going to come in. Sapp can't even breathe. Look at him. He puts his knee up.
Cage, do you think they're tired, or do you think they actually are hurt? I think they're more tired than hurt.
They're definitely tired. 100% tired. So this fight is amazing. It's 3 minutes, guys. This whole round. It's one round. It is the greatest first. Look at it. He falls down, throwing a punch. He can't even stand. What's he doing?
What is he doing?
He's down again. So now Kimo's down twice. Right? He thinks it's over. Sapp can get up. He's ready to fight.
Guy's eyes are bulging out of his face.
He doesn't know what's going on. He comes back out for the fight, kicks him, punches him, and he just starts flailing with his arms. And Kimo's down. These guys they're just beating the hell out of each other. Mouthpiece comes out. Give it a pause. Now let's go kick him. Sapp's got a little extra wind. Look at this. Oh, he's just pummeling this dude. Look at that. That's it. The Donkey Kong, the hammer.
What is going on?
Now you're not learning any technique from this. Take nothing from this but entertainment. And that's it. Finally, Kimo down. It's over. But talk about like a back and forth fight. These guys were both basically out on their feet. Kimo thought he won. Sapp is down. Sapp knocks himself down throwing a punch. I mean, that's what you get with big guys, just throwing crazy stuff. You see that? That's a fun fight.
No defense. But I guess what's the point of defense if you could just punch right through the defense, huh? They're too strong for the defense.
I don't know. To me, that fight might have been fixed. Who the hell knows what was going on there? That was just insane. But, guys, if you haven't seen that, just fun combat sport stuff out there.
Let me pull something up for you, Cage.
What?
So let me pull something up for you and tell me what you think.
That sounds dirty.
What do you think of this card? And Clay Frazier is Joe Frazier, right?
Yeah, it's Cassius Clay against Joe Frazier. Yep.
Okay, Clay E. Frazier. This is a cool card, no?
Yeah, it's got both of them.
Look at this. Yeah, 1976 is called the Edis Olympiadi. Clay Frazier, I guess versus E. I don't know why it says E. E. Frazier. Pretty awesome card. Guess how much this is?
I'd love to see the back, like what this is from. Guess how much it's from? A couple $100. Is it a sticker? Is it like an?
It's from Torino. I think this is Panini before Panini was Panini.
No,
like
Panini had stuff in the '60s.
But so I mean, do you think this company could have been absorbed by Panini? It's from Torino. It's from Italy.
I mean, possibly. I never heard of it. I've never seen this. I love this stuff because
$275 or best offer.
Or best offer. Look at that.
Iconic, right?
That's pretty cheap.
I think so too. And I know
they had already fought. I know they fought.
I mean, 8 off center, but in 8, like this is a gorgeous, gorgeous card.
This is the one thing about boxing stuff, right? There's just so many oddball sets and cards. Like you just saw on your page, you had the 1965 Bancroft Tiddlers Muhammad Ali Cassius Clay card. It's actually one of my favorites. It's a cool card because it's kind of drawn, but it's got his face and a little
want me to pull it up?
It's a cool card. And one of his earlier ones, definitely a card. The thing about Ali stuff in the beginning, his cards weren't cards, like the rookie cards, the Hemmich Journal and the not that one, the Hemmich Journal and the Swedish Record.
This one?
That far right.
This one.
That one, yeah. Bancroft Tiddlers, I should say.
It's a cool card.
See, it's cool, right? Like drawn with his face, and it's also like him posed there. And I think it's 65, right? 65.
Yep.
That's one of the less expensive, quote unquote, potential rookies of him. Because the Hemmets was 60, the Swedish Record was 62. So obviously there was stuff with him years before. The Hemmets one has now been held out, sort of like the Pele, Alifa, as the one people are going after. But even that, it's a cut card. You had to actually hand cut that out of a journal.
And Cage and I were talking. I mean, we're talking a little bit about like boxing has such an interesting history, right? Boxing is maybe the one sport. I mean, I guess all sports. I mean, it just there's so much history of it from a athleticism standpoint, but it's also such a show too, right? It's such a spectacle.
Yep.
And that I find super interesting, like, and how it's evolved over the years, right? There were times in boxing where it was truly the best athletes in the world were boxers. There were times it wasn't that. And like, I know people are divided about the Logan Paul brothers fighting, and a lot of people think it's a mockery of the sport. I do think like they're bringing a ton of attention to the sport, right? And a sport that's been dead for 20 years or so. Do you feel like it's revitalized a little, or am I off here?
Sort of. I mean, you know what? When boxing is popular is when the heavyweight champ is a household name. Who's the heavyweight champ right now?
Fury, right? It's Fury.
Is it? I don't even know. Is it Fury?
Tyson Fury, heavyweight champ.
I don't know. I mean, you could have told me it was one of the Klitschko brothers. I would have believed you. That's the point. I mean, I guess people know Fury, and people, he fought like Deontay Wilder and, that kind of stuff. And I guess there's a cool trilogy there. But in addition to having a great heavyweight, you need a foil. That was what made, Holyfield Tyson, that fight that people wanted to see. It's what made, Clay Frazier or George Foreman, even, Lennox Lewis, after, Tyson, and, these big names, people knew these names.
Styles make fights.
I guess Fury, I guess, is an interesting character. He also has this thing going for him where he kind of looks like me without a shirt on, Tyson Fury. Yeah, man, look what Tyson Fury, you ever see what Tyson Fury looks like? He's jiggly.
He's a big boy.
He's a jiggly dude.
His brother. So Tommy Fury pulled out of the fight, but his brother's jacked. Like I wouldn't even know that they were brothers.
So I mean, look, it's interesting.
The internet's
stuff.
A little bit glitchy, Cage.
A little bit. You're freezing every couple seconds and stuff.
But let me refresh real quick, guys.
He's frozen. Gotta check this one out on YouTube, guys. I got my UFC hat on, a little beanie I got from the UFC. Now I'm by myself, and he's coming back. Yeah, man. This is an interesting one. I don't know how this is gonna play on the audio.
I muted the audio because we didn't want any copyright issues.
No, I mean just us talking about a fight for a couple of minutes that people can't see. I mean, if you're audio on this, thanks for bearing with us for a couple of minutes. We'll have a full episode for you here.
Well, we had a great call yesterday with someone, and they gave kind of what's one of the coolest compliments they could give is like, the hobby's growing. Really, the hobby is growing, guys. Believe it or not. But like your audience is interesting because your audience is your audience. They listen to you guys, and they only listen to you guys. And it was a great compliment. So I think it'll play just like all our other stuff plays. We try to talk about sports from a different angle. We try to talk about the history of sport, plus how it applies to modern day. Boxing is one example of that, but we talk about baseball. We talk about golf. We talk about basketball, football, all that stuff.
Let's take your boxing thing to the next level, right?
Oh, what is the next level?
With all the talk of fanatics coming in and licensed products and F1 bursting on the scene, if you're right, and boxing is getting more notoriety, could Topps or Panini make a play for a boxing card? Could we actually have a release of a legitimate, licensed boxing, maybe the WBC or whoever it is, like some, there's different, there's different, I guess it's called promotions, there's different.
Why does it? Everything relies on promotion and marketing, right? And good leadership. Why doesn't UFC have two divisions? You have mixed martial arts and boxing as well. Like, I think boxing under Dana White would crush.
Because it's not boxing. I mean, they could do it, but I think boxing
Correct.
has their own commissions. I mean, maybe that's something they could do. It's interesting. They're their own sport, It is a completely different sport and marketed that way. And it's funny that there's licensed UFC cards, and maybe that's because there's a league.
Correct.
That's
what I mean.
There's a league. There's a centralized league. You can go to the UFC and say, we want to make licensed UFC cards. I don't know who you do that with for boxing. You know what I mean?
You have. I mean, De La Hoya hasn't done a good job with his promotions, from what I understand.
But I think you could do with that,
Canelo.
right? Like Logan Paul cards, Jake Paul cards as boxers. You know what I mean? In a time where people are looking
Tops now cards of the fight, some autographed ones, some parallels, 1,000%.
It'd be interesting. Another cool.
I think it would play. Let me ask you something. So Steve posted this in our group. We'll just shift gears. So Charles Barkley. So everyone's coming out LeBron, then they're coming out Vogel. But Charles Barkley says, "Dude, what is this? Like, why do we need to keep talking about anyone other than Anthony Davis? You're a top 5 player in the league. Start playing like one, right?" Did you see that quote?
I saw the quote. They were talking about it this morning. Stephen A. Smith was talking about it this morning.
So you were like kind of nodding your head left and right. Why that reaction?
Well, because I knew you were going after Anthony Davis. There are people out there who think Anthony Davis is going to be the MVP this year, and they bet their cards on it. And we've had them on the show, so I knew where you were going, and he's not going to be happy. But
who?
What was that? Was it Summertime Cards? I think was the one who came on and said.
Was he an Anthony Davis guy?
Yeah, he said Anthony Davis is going to be the MVP. I'm pretty sure. It was him. Shoot.
So I mean, people could be happy or unhappy. I mean, if I'm not the one on the Lakers that's playing.
The LeBron
summertimes
who were talking about this, it's really funny, right? Because when you want to talk about LeBron, when LeBron fans come out, they want to say LeBron's the GOAT. They want to say LeBron's the best. He's the best player in the league right now. He's the best there ever was. He's the greatest. When the team's 13-12, the LeBron narrative is LeBron's 176 years old when they fall, right? LeBron can't be the one that carries this team. LeBron is he's the aging one, and these new guys that they brought here, they need to step up and carry the team with LeBron as a piece of the team. All of a sudden, when they're succeeding, he's the GOAT and it's his team. When they're a middle of the pack team and they're, basically a 500 basketball club, it's not LeBron's fault. So he gets credit for good stuff. He gets a pass.
I see where you're going with that. Yes, fair. The issue with that, so I think that's a fair point. And if you're the leader, if you're the alpha, the success is the team's, the failures are on me. Here it's the reverse. But I think if you watch the season, you would think Anthony Davis is underperforming. But can I give you some context on how stats don't tell the whole story? Because I think we can all mutually agree that Anthony Davis is not playing well, right?
Yeah. I mean, the team's not playing well, and that's where the blame lands, right?
So he's averaging 24 points a game, 2.2 blocks a game, 1.3 steals a game, 10 rebounds a game, shooting exactly 56% from
it's difficult to blame him when he's going 24-10. What else do you want from the guy?
I am not a big so I use stats, but only as just a piece of my analysis. I think a lot of people do stats as like they look at the box score. I think that's a story of stats don't tell the whole thing. Stats don't tell the full story. Because if you watch, he's not dominant, right? He's not imposing his will. You could put up big numbers, and he will. He's a talent. He's 7'1". He's athletic. He's long. He's the John Jones of the NBA without the off the court issues. He's a problem. He's a mismatch. But what I think Charles is saying is how and when you get those numbers matters as much as the numbers themselves. Are you taking over in the fourth quarter and really imposing your will and getting buckets down the stretch when your team needs them? I don't know. I wanted to ask you that. I know you're not a
Speaking of
Go ahead.
Getting buckets down the stretch, down 17 and the Nets came back and beat the Mavs yesterday. Down 17. It was like those guys were listening to our conversation yesterday about Luka, Harden, and it happened that they were playing against each other. Is Luka, Harden. And Tim Hardaway, who you think is the savior of Dallas, had a three-pointer at the buzzer to tie the game, and it clank. But what was funny about it is I say Hardaway, I say Harden, oh man, you don't compare Luka to Harden. And they go out there, and the Nets snatch a victory. They come from behind, from way behind the whole game, and they win on the back of Harden and Durant. Harden had, I'm like, another good rebound. Harden was one rebound shy of a triple-double. Luka was not. Luka had some really nice passes, just like you said, but there was nobody else on the team stepping up to do anything when it came down to crunch time. And I watched that game. The Nets are good. With or without Kyrie, they're good. They're good. They play good team ball. Durant forces them to play good team ball. But I spent a little bit of time last night. This might be insane. And I'm not talking about going crazy on this, but I was looking at the 09 rookie class, like the Topps Chrome and the Topps Chrome refractors and those. And
DeRozan, Harden, Curry that year?
Yes. So I was looking at that class. I was looking at the cards, and I forget what auction I saw it in. I don't know if it was PWCC's basketball auction or one of the auctions coming up. And there's a Curry Chrome, and there's a Harden Chrome. And the Harden is legit selling for pennies on the dollar to Curry, which makes sense. I mean, Curry is a champ. Right? Curry's having an amazing season. But I'm wondering whether my play today should be maybe sprinkling in a little Harden rookies. Because if the Nets win, sure, that's great for Durant, right? Because then it's Durant's team, right? He didn't join the Warriors, win a championship. It helps Durant's legacy. But Durant's cards are already running. Durant's cards are already gone up based on the hope that the Nets win the championship. Harden's cards are crap. And I believe, after watching a lot of Nets games, my son, on again, off again, Net fan, but watching a lot of Net games because it's local for me. Like, I don't have to use the NBA League Pass. The Net games are all on here.
You have all the games anyway, even without the local.
Yeah, but the Nets are on. Like, I don't even have to switch over to, the League Pass. It's just on my regular, it's on TV, The Knicks and the Nets are on whenever they're playing. So, I watch their games. If they win, Harden's going to have a huge role in it. Because when 100%. They get to the playoffs, defense is going to try to clamp down on Durant. And Harden's going to have a game like he had last night, almost score 30, almost have a triple-double, get a lot of rebounds, play, play an instrumental role. So if you're banking on Durant winning a championship, is a smarter play maybe sprinkling in a little Harden into your collection at the depressed prices that they're at now? And I think it's a good suggestion. Sure.
I think so too, because Harden is Chris Middleton, but with also the resume of being an MVP and being an alpha before, right? So it's one of those things where, sure, he probably won't get all the credit, but he's going to get some, and then there's going to be a discussion who's alpha A, alpha B, whatever.
Yeah, but it vaults you into another conversation in the hobby. Sure. When you are someone who's won an MVP and a championship. You're just in the hobby. You're thought of differently. In the game, you're thought of differently when you have done both of those things. Ask Chris Paul.
I'll be sure to. Okay, let me ask you one more question. 2012 Prizm. So Steve asked this. Who would you rather hold from this set, AD, Lillard, or Beal?
I would like to say none, but I think
right now,
if you're making me invest in one, because they're all around the same. It's amazing to think. I passed on a $2,800 offer on my Lillard PSA 10 once. Based. Not silver. Based, right?
When they went up 1-0 versus the Lakers in the bubble?
I think, yeah, when Lillard was at his peak. So, and he was dropping, 40 points a game every game for like 10 games in a row. I say Lillard at that price only because of this.
He's a rapper.
You would think that Davis is the way to go because he already has a championship. He's younger. He's got you would think
he's younger in age, not in body. He's broken down.
You would think Davis is the way to go. I think Lillard is not even because of what ends up happening. I think there's a chance that he switches teams, and that even before there's any play that happens, even before he's whatever team he's on, that will spur some interest in his card from a new fan base, and that would give me an exit.
You know where he'd be excellent, in my opinion? I think he'd fit in well, is the Heat. I think he'd be a really good addition to the Heat.
Don't you think that would disrupt the Heat? A ball hog like coming in and messing with the
He's
team?
not a ball hog. He's not a ball hog. He just has to do it because his team kind of is very, very limited around him. But yeah, he is ball dominant.
I mean, do you ever see anyone from the Heat team chuck up a shot from the logo? It's not not the way they play.
But that's the issue. Like their kryptonite is going to be team ball wins in college. Team ball plus a go-to scorer wins in the NBA. You need someone that you could go to in the fourth quarter.
Right. It only gets them so far. I get it.
Yeah, and Jimmy Butler is Jimmy Buckets. He's good, man, but we all have watched him. He's so much he's overachieved his potential as a player. You know what I mean? There's only so much you could do, and he's limited on offense. He's not a great outside shooter. He's not even a great kind of mid-range shooter. He's not even great at getting to the cup. He's just
But at the end, when you need somebody to take a three, who's doing it on that team? Duncan Robinson? That's not your go-to guy. I get it.
So, it'll be cool to see him on the Heat. What else we got? What else is on your mind before we wrap it? I'll give my other play. One is that Joe Frazier card, but I found that like kind of midway through this. Anything else you want to talk about?
I love that net game last night. Kind of sucks we don't have baseball. Holiday season's coming up. Guys, check out Reckless.
Luka's overweight.
Giveaway. What?
Luka and Zion are overweight. They're having eating competitions in off season.
I messaged them both and invited them to Luka Nation Fit Fan because I got to get on a diet myself. You know, I reheated a McDonald's bacon double cheeseburger right before jumping on the show. Scarfed that down with a couple cookies. Give myself some show energy.
Someone in our Fit Fam wrote like getting back in shape, running or something. And Cage's like, "Wow, how do you run?" And he's like, "I just walk. It's just faster than walking."
Yeah,
I just walk faster.
It's running. I don't know. What's this running thing you speak about? I don't know.
You just said just walk faster.
Unless somebody's chasing me with a gun, I'm not running. It's just not the way it goes. No, I mean, listen, we're heading into an interesting time here now. You know, my hope is, grading kind of comes back to some semblance of normalcy, and we're able to kind of see some cards and pick up some more cards. I think 1-1 is released this week. From basketball, a lot of these interesting.
You say that's a shit product, though. I say no one cares about it.
It's a hit or miss product, right? So, like, I opened up the Contenders Optic and got a Peyton Pritchard card. I've watched people open up and get like Durant Gold Auto, Luka Gold Auto. If you hit something nice, you hit something nice like that. It's not going to kill you for a while. Same thing with 1-1. There are nice cards in it. You have those like art kind of cards. They're like that weird on card like auto stuff. Like if you happen to hit something nice, it's great. But if not, I opened 1-1 last year. I opened Court Kings last year. My hits always seem to be trash. So it's very hit or miss. It's like me. It's all or nothing, man.
Let me give you guys my play real quick. But also let me ask you guys, we're heading into the end of the year. What are some cool things, whether that's like a charity or something you guys are doing around the holiday season with cards or some content or ideas you guys want us to talk about? Shoot us a DM, leave us a comment. I know you guys have been doing that recently and I've been a little bit behind answering them, but please be patient. Even if I don't answer, I read them and they mean the world to me. It's just been a little bit busier recently.
Before you get into your play, right?
Sure.
You get into your play, I just want to throw a little fun out there. Besides Harden, we took UFC. Let me drop, just in case you guys want to get into UFC, we've seen this, and I've talked about this once before, but I have the UFC hat on, so let me throw it out there. Let me drop a couple names that most casual people watching it now, who just know Khabib and Conor, won't know their names, but it might be if UFC follows the same trajectory that everything else does, people go back in time and look for some of those GOATs, and those are underappreciated cards from 2009, 2010, even before. We talked about the Japanese cards. You probably have all heard of Anderson Silva and those and George St. Pierre, some of the great champs from back when I was watching it in 2009 and 10. Other names, in addition to Anderson Silva, Vanderlei Silva, who when I told you to pull up Silva fights, you kept getting the wrong Silva. Axe Murderer, great fights. Take a look at some of his entrants. Mirko Krokop, amazing
That's
fight.
Tongue in cheek, right? Like he's not actually an axe murderer.
No, that's just a nickname, the Axe Murderer.
Might
have murdered someone with an axe. You watch his fights. I believe he might have actually murdered someone with an axe.
Like Spider-Man Silva is like, okay, we get it. Like you're like axe murderer, like that, dude. That's
He's just a spider.
Right,
he was
man.
like a spider. He's like a spider.
No, but Spider, that's within the limits. Like Axe Murderer Silva, it's like, dude, it's just a sport here.
Yeah, I mean, he's just trying to be imposing, man. You don't want to be like, Vanderlei, the disco
Flower Girl
dancer.
Silver. Flower Girl
like
Silver.
You want to have like a nickname that
Gotcha.
strikes fear into the hearts of many men. So,
Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah, so Vanderlei.
No. Maximus.
Mirko
Eludius.
Krokop. What are we doing? Randy Couture is one also. I think I've given him as a play. He was in the 09. His rookie is in 09 tops. He's got a red ink auto. BJ Penn, same thing.
Little
09
guy.
rookie.
Looks like a high schooler.
Watch some of his fights. An amazing fighter. Great name.
Is BJ Penn from Toms River, New Jersey?
No. Is that Frankie Edgar?
Frankie Edgar. My apologies.
Frankie Edgar, who also champ in the 155 lightweight. But yeah, I mean, listen, Jose Aldo is a name a lot of people hadn't heard of before, and then he came out and won his fight.
Stop saying Jose.
It's Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo Jr.
Can I get into my play, please? You're just gonna you're gonna name every UFC fighter in history.
Why not?
We know you're an encyclopedia.
I didn't tell him to go out and buy Art One Glove Jimerson cards.
Jimmer Furnett was in UFC?
Not Jimmer. Art One Glove Jimerson. That's who fought Hoist Gracie. When the UFC was just starting, it was a shtick. And it was supposed to be like a boxer versus a wrestler versus a sumo wrestler versus a jiu-jitsu guy. And it was all like, let's get all the different styles of fights against each other. And Art Jimerson fought Hoist Gracie with one glove. That was his shtick. Art
Did he win?
Glove Jimerson. I'm telling you.
Did he win?
Yeah. No, he did not win.
So out of all four of those categories, boxer, MMA, sumo wrestler, and I don't remember the fourth, who prevailed? What's sumo? Sumo prevails because nothing hurts.
In the beginning, it was Gracie. I mean, that was the start of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, BJJ.
Jiu-jitsu one.
Yeah. That was Hoist Gracie. He came in with his gi on. He used it to his advantage and basically just choked everybody out, submitted everybody.
All right, my play. Two goats. It's not really a card you're going to buy, but it's a card I want to bring attention to. This card to me, I saw it recently. I commented on it. It's the equivalent of if Mickey Mantle and Babe Ruth were on the same card together. And it's the 1958 Garrincha Pele card that I just think is going to be one of the most iconic cards.
This is the Gazzetta Esportiva one?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, 1958. I mean, I think it's already running and you might be late to it, but I just want to bring attention to this card because it's so iconic that like it deserves its place on Lucas Tiger's bronze. Dude, this card,
guys,
Pele.
Before he gets into the card and tells me about Garrincha, because I don't know anything about him, I just have to say, because we're transparent on these cards, this is another one of those cards. It's cut from it looks like a record. It looks like a vinyl record. It's got the whole 58 team in their Brazil uniforms, right? It's got the whole team around it with a team card in the center. Okay, and I believe on the positioning on the card, Pele and Garrincha are on the bottom right of this one sleeve. And I guess because they were next to each other, you were able to cut the two of them out into one card. So PSA graded that as a two-person card. I own this card, which is why for transparency. But mine,
you own this card?
Mine is just the Pele. I just have the Pele. I own the Pele, and I have a PSA 4, which is the highest grade of this card. So I own this in PSA 4. I bought it in the most recent Golden auction. Yes, sir. So I want to be transparent with everybody. You're talking about a card that I happen to own part of. I don't own the panel of two. You can also buy the team card from the center. People cut that off and grade it. Impossible to find these. Handful total graded. Yep.
I had no idea. That's so cool. Did you know this? So
but I don't know who this Garrincha guy is. So tell me. As a
kid, a doctor labeled him as a cripple because one of his legs is 6 centimeters shorter than the other. And this guy came out of the slums in Brazil to become one of the greatest players of all time with literally two different.
Because I came straight from the slums of Shaolin.
Two different sizes. Think about that, dude. You have two different size legs. You're labeled as a cripple as a kid, and you go on not only to be the best player in the world, you're the best player on Brazil, which back in that time, like Brazil soccer was everything. I mean, no one played like Brazil. So This is like Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle to me on a soccer card, and it's just so cool. I had no idea the story behind it. That makes it even cooler.
You can look, type in 1958 Gazzetta on eBay. You might see one uncut. You might see one of the full panels. That's
cool. It would be kind of cool to collect all three, right? The full, the two of them, and then just Pele, right? And you kind of like put them like. Maybe we'll make a piece of content out of that, but that's really neat, man. I had no idea. And wonder who else was on that team. This is what 1958.
See, pull it up. You got the whole team. I'm telling you, it looks like a vinyl record. It looks like it's a square. And it's got the team card. I missed out last week. There was a team card on eBay. I think it was like a PSA 2 of the team, and nobody knew what it was, and it wasn't being promoted. But I missed out. Somebody outbid me at the last minute.
Here it is, uncut sheet.
Yeah, you pull it up. I want to see. And it's in rough shape, and Pele and Garrincha are on the bottom corner of it, if I remember. So it's also tough to get them in good shape. See? They're on the bottom
right here.
See?
Wow. This is so cool, man.
Now, people cut the center out and grade the team. So if you look on PSA's Pop, I think there's 3 of these that have been graded. The Campeón Mundial, the world champ, there you got just that card for the middle get cut and graded, and then you have Pele by himself, and then the Pele Garrincha combined.
Man, this is cool, but this is like a whole rabbit hole to go down. This is Eusebio's another really cool card, really good player.
This is the thing about soccer, and same as boxing, it makes it a little difficult. We talked about this with LAFC Gunnar about which Pele card. You don't know which one's going to be the card. Right, and I gotta tell you, I didn't even know this card existed.
Here's another one, Cage.
Baloney one, right? I had the alphabet one.
That's more of like a picture, right?
What'd you say?
That's more a photo. It's like glossy, right?
Yeah, but it's tiny. But it looks like when I bought that, it was not his most. Do me a favor, because I know there's one on eBay. Type in Pele, Pele, Quigol, Quigol, Quigol. Type that in. There's going to be a high there. When I started looking for Pele,
and an
this
SGC
was the card to have.
Respect SGC.
That was the card to have. People like that. And it was 58. But I guess there was some correction to it that these cards came out maybe closer to 1961. And now I think they actually write 58 to 61 on the flips and on the slabs. So people are like, okay, this one might not be a rookie. The Alpha La Baloge one, I say it differently every time to be funny, might actually have come before it. And now that was the one that people went after. So
can I ask our audience something, Paige?
Well, yeah, shoot. I think this card, by the way, is gorgeous.
I think so too.
It's a gorgeous card.
Guys, vintage cards like this. Do you think they look nicer in a SGC or a PSA slab? Just aesthetics. I'm not talking modern cards. I'm curious for vintage SGC holders, which are unique, right? This is all foam, or PSA.
So I'll tell you my take, if I'm allowed, or should we just let the audience chime in?
Please. Most of the questions I ask the audience, I want to hear your take on.
I like that one a lot because it is. If you look at PSA with these smaller cards, like the Alpha Libero J.
Here it is for your.
And this one here. What'd you say?
Here's the PSA version.
The PSA slab. It looks like it's kind of floating with, that they put like a plastic around it, like plastic over it. Whereas the SGC one, they cut the black, the tuxedo look to fit the card. So it looks a little cooler, I think, in the SGC slab. These cards that are oddball shapes, let's call it.
Right.
See what I mean? They put more of that black, tuxedo around it. Gives it like more of a border. So
there you guys have it. Maybe your top 5 episode of all time.
By the way, Pele has a Swedish record also. Same kind of thing. You had it up there. Remember we were talking about how Muhammad Ali has a Swedish record, which is a magazine that has a 2-panel on the card. Pele has one of them also. Same kind of thing where you could grade the 2 of them or just one. Swedish record, just like Ali has.
Whoever's out there, you guys might want to NFT this episode because this is going to be an OG one. This is it's a top 5 for sure.
Well, I like it because we're giving love to underappreciated stuff, and maybe this is what happens. Maybe this is what the fun part of the sport. The baseball's in a lockout. Basketball's in the middle. It's getting a little boring. Football's got a bunch of weeks to go. We just had a cool football thing, but in the middle of the week, no one's really talking about football. We can only beat up LeBron that much. So it makes sense for us to talk about UFC, a little boxing, a little soccer.
Give praise to the guys who paved the way, right? Like sports are a huge business now. People don't realize, like, if you're under 25, I mean, in the 1980s, football players had part-time jobs. In when Ali Frazier fought for the third time, Cage told me a story that. Go ahead. I don't tell stories at your level.
No, I said I don't know whether this is true or not, but I remember when Ali came back and Frazier hadn't beaten him, and Ali had all of his troubles. I was watching the Ali
But
movie.
Frazier was the champion at this time. Frazier was a champion,
right,
but
Frazier
hadn't beaten Ali.
Right, and Ali was coming back to fight. He was trying to get a fight with Frazier. And there's a scene in the movie, again, remember, it's Hollywood, right? It's Hollywood, right? But Ali had just gone through a whole bunch of stuff, He was, no one would let him fight. He was, labeled a draft dodger. And basically, he had to call out Frazier. Frazier didn't need to fight him. Frazier was a champ, And Frazier picks him up in a car, Frazier's car. And Ali's in the passenger seat, and they're driving with Frazier. Frazier's like, I heard all the stuff you've been saying about me, And he's like, well, you got to fight. He's like, why do I need to fight you? Why do I need to fight you? And Ali says to him, basically like, because you know that until you beat me, I'm the champ. And that's what everyone's going to think. And he's like, okay, fine. I'm going to kick your ass. And then says to him, you need any money? And who knows if that actually happened, but I could definitely see it happening. And that's cool, man. It's like sportsmanship, It's like, doing the right thing. Respect. Yeah.
So yesterday you asked me, hey, you here in Toronto, you can't play if you don't have, or in Canada, you can't play if you don't have the vaccine, right?
Yep. Starting in January.
And I mean, I didn't think about it, right? Because you kind of put me on the spot, but I thought about it last night. And it's like, so Muhammad Ali couldn't fight, right? He couldn't do his job, which really is what, right? He couldn't earn money for his family because of a decision to go fight a war, right? And we could argue back and forth.
Right, and when the trials were going on, they actually took away his passport. And another scene from the movie, they said to him, I'm not going to have you enriching yourself while you're, convicted, while this is going on by going and fighting outside the country. They actually took away his passport to not let him go out and fight somewhere else.
So when I came to this country, I think my parents came, you're kind of promised this freedom, right? We talk a lot about freedom, America. You could be your, and how much he had to stick up for his rights of, dude, this is just my choice. I don't agree with going to fight to Vietnam. I'm not saying you guys shouldn't go, but for me, it doesn't feel right. That's where I go with the vaccine, man. I don't know if it's right or not to get vaccinated, right? I'm not a doctor. The pastries are doctors. There's millions of doctors. They know better. You should probably go listen to Fauci. He's probably one of the smartest ones out there. But I don't understand the concept of in a free world. That was tongue-in-cheek, guys, in podcasts. I was being very sarcastic. I don't support taking away a man's right to earn money for his family. I don't understand that. That's not what the country was founded on, frankly. So that's where I go with it. Like, vaccinated or not, sure, but you shouldn't be able to take someone's livelihood away because of a decision they make.
I like it. Of course, Ali was at the time committing a crime. Right now, at least as of today, I don't think they've made it a crime yet to not be vaccinated.
Well, so was Al Capone when Prohibition, and then drinking became a huge business. So was gambling in 1990, and now gambling is marketed to us and shoved down our throats.
Capone was convicted of tax evasion.
No, my point is, what's illegal at one point becomes legal, and not only legal, it's admired. Dude, weed used to be legal. Now you aren't cool if you don't smoke weed. Like, it's cool to smoke.
Can I tell you a little fun thing? Maybe we can end the episode with this. All right, so guys out there, if you're listening to this and you don't follow me, I'm going to ask you to follow my personal page. You do me a favor, because I have
Can you change it back to Cage Lawyer, please? No. Everyone knows you're with Luca Nation, but Luca Nation _ Cage Lawyer.
Just Luca Nation Cage Lawyer. So you want me to just put Cage Lawyer? I'll put Cage Lawyer. But so here's the thing. You ready, guys? Cage Lawyer. I need 40, 50 followers to get to 2,000. Cool little milestone. It'd be nice to hit that for Christmas. It'd be a nice present you guys to me. But here's why I mentioned my own personal account. I am now forever inextricably linked to my co-host. And the most recent followers that I've had have names like weed for business, the magic herb. Like the last 5 people who followed me are some form of marijuana businesses. So I don't know what's going on behind the scenes on our Luca Nation account. I don't know if the next sponsorship we're going to be is some sort of vape pen. I don't know what we got going on behind the scenes in our business development department. But people who have been following me recently are all marijuana companies, which it is what it is. Like Andrew said,
it changes lives.
Each their own, right? To each their own.
It changed Mike Tyson's life, man. You should hear how he talks about weed. He's creating a weed farm.
But doesn't he also like eat frogs? Like who licks frogs? Like there's also Joe Rogan. I don't know what that's.
Well, that's right here. It's you smoke like this, guys. I don't know what it's called. You guys know better.
Yeah, sure you don't.
I wonder what people think. Like, do people know I don't drink or do hard drugs? You think they know that?
No, because that's not fun.
Okay.
People assume the camera turns off and you are down there in Mexico. You're on a beach, right? You got this like sombrero-shaped bong, right? You're just out there. You got like a whole party, a whole mess of Mexican people, women, men. You got like a whole crew, and you shut the camera off, and boom, right behind that weird mirror, there's like a group of dozens of people ready to just do all kinds of drugs.
That's right.
That's what the assumption is. No?
All right. I can neither confirm or deny.
He's like, all right.
Love you, Luca Nation. We'll be back tomorrow. And we have a pretty special episode for you guys with a hobby goat, if that's, I've used that word for everything, but someone who's very well respected. Peace.